Hey,
Laddie, we need a sub-rogue guide.
okay. Okay, chill.
Hey pals, Palumor here, and welcome to the official sub-rogue guide for the War Within Season 1 PvP. If you guys want to be a god of WoW, then this is the video for you. If you've never tuned into the channel before and you have no idea who I am, my name is Palumor. I've been making content on Rogue on YouTube and Twitch for several years now. I've acquired 7 rank 1 titles on the Rogue, so I have a pretty good idea of what's going on with the class. And yeah, I mean, honestly, we're just going to jump right into stuff. I'll probably do timestamps for you guys. This is going to be more of a guide that's going to show you guys the more complicated stuff that people don't really do in guides. When it comes to like gearing and all that stuff, we're going to brush by that, but we're going to be more so focused on like the rotational stuff, the actual gameplay, and like openers. Without further ado, let's jump right into it, boys. So like I said, we're just going to breeze by really quick. Let's talk about the gearing. Gearing should not be a complicated topic. When you want to get the best gear, this is what you do, guys. You basically spend a lot of time. You go digging through the tunnels, you do all the theory crafting and all the testing, and you find out what is the best way to spend all my currencies to get the best gear. Or you could just take a shortcut and just ask Calvish, because Calvish definitely does not touch enough grass. He'll have that info for us, so I got that for you guys right here. If you guys want the best game plan for how to spend your bloody tokens and conquests in the first kind of like week or so, this is what you want to do. Now, I just want to quickly talk about actual stat prio. Stat prio hasn't really changed a lot for Sub-Rogue in a long time. Something I do want to mention really quickly. General stat prio, verse greater than mass, greater than crit, greater than haste. Haste is terrible for Sub-Rogue, obviously. Crit is pretty good, but it's just not as good as verse and mastery. Verse and mastery are just damage. Versatility affects your damage on everything, and mastery affects your damage on finishers. So if you want to know if a piece of gear is better for you, really simple trick that Calvish actually showed me as well. You can just actually hit a PvP dummy, and you can mouse over your eviscerate, and you can actually just look at tooltip damage. Now, if you look at tooltip damage, it's going to give you a better idea of how much it's actually modifying your damage on finishers. Mastery has a really weird scaling effect, and I kind of learned all this throughout Dragonflight. The best way to test your gear is actually look at the tooltips on your spells. So you'll see if I hit the dummy right here, it says my eviscerate will hit for 293k with 7 points. Whereas if I got a piece that had like way more mastery, but like less verse, I can find out what one's actually better just by looking at this. But yeah, general stat prio, not going to talk about it too much. Let's jump into the talents. So for Sub-Rogue, we've cooked up 2 builds. First up, we have the Death Stalker Sub-Rogue setup here. Let me move my big ass head over here for you guys and maybe shrink down a little bit here. There we go. And now, listen, for Sub-Rogue, you can play Trickster or Deathstalker as your hero talents. Trickster, you basically play it if you want to hit big Kyrians. Deathstalker, you play it if you want like more of like a consistent build, I guess, more like consistent damage throughout the game. But yeah, I'll just show you the build that I'm playing primarily, and then you can kind of like make up your decision of what you want to play. So the main things to mention with this spec, I'll leave imports to this in the description, by the way. This spec has this talent right here. It has like a lot of talents that kind of make your Rupture own. Okay, you have like the thing in Deathstalker right here. Where is it? There's like a thing where your Rupture makes right here, Corrupt the Blood. Basically, when you run around rupturing everyone, especially with finality too, your Rupture ticks are actually going to do like significant damage throughout a game of Sub-Rogue, which is pretty weird because Sub-Rogue's kind of like a bursty spec. It's like a burst window setup spec, so it's kind of weird to have like sustained damage, but this is just kind of how Sub-Rogue is going right now, especially with this spec. You want to run around and rupture people a lot, get double ruptures up, get finality ruptures up. Your Rupture is probably going to end up being your top, if not one of your top damages every game, and it's going to give you like a good amount of pressure to roll off of for your setup. This build specifically is really good because the Deathstalker's Mark gives us the Darkest Night, which is the big hero talent here, and this thing makes us do really big eviscerates. There's modifiers in here like Secret Strata and Deeper Strata that give us more finisher damage, like Thistle Tea gives us Mastery too. So there's actually a really big burst opener that you can do with this build that I will show you guys later in the video. But this is build number 1. Now build number 2, this is kind of like a Palumor one-shotty build. Let me just switch my things over really quick. But yeah, I'll show you what this build looks like. You also can play Deathstalker or Trickster with this one. I'm just going to do Deathstalker for the sake of the video to keep it simple. I'm not going to really go over the hero talents. They're kind of straightforward. You can kind of just read them and see what they do. Anyways, what this build's going to allow you to do is actually replace that SEPSIS down here with a little Echoing Reprimand. And if you do things correctly, you can actually hit extremely high amounts of damage with Echoing Reprimand. So this is definitely like a cool burst build. Once again, we're going to show rotations for this and openers later in the video. I just kind of want to show the specs so you guys can decide what you want to play. Okay, next thing. We're going to talk about PvP talents. This is going to be really quick. Let me just fix my spec. So PvP talents, really straightforward. If you're watching this video as of this exact date, it is September 11th. Basically, Thieves' Bargain is really good because of this talent right here, Invigorating Shadow Dust. Now, in an upcoming patch soon, I think it's like the half-season patch or something, this talent is getting removed from Sub-Rogue. So Sub-Rogue is going to play very differently. The way you play Sub right now is you have a lot of CDR, and you have this talent that makes your vanishes shorter. So basically, you shorten your vanishes with Thieves' Bargain, and then you vanish to shorten the CD of everything else. And you kind of just constantly are resetting all your cooldowns, and you're just like immortal. You're running around the map, you got 50 vanishes, 25 evasions, 32 Cloak of Shadows, 8 trinkets. It doesn't actually reset your trinket, but you get the idea. This talent's really OP right now. Once Invigorating Shadow Dust is gone, after that patch, I think what's going to happen is we're going to actually switch this talent to probably Veil of Midnight. And then these are going to be like your main talents that you use, your PvP talents. Just because the CDR is going to be gone, I don't really see the point in reducing blades that much. I don't think that Thieves' Bargain is going to really hold its weight anymore. If you're watching right now, September 11th vibe, you play Thieves' Bargain. In the future, you're probably going to play Veil of Midnight. Now, the reason why we play Smoke Bomb and Duel, we want these two tools, very simple reasoning. These buttons create win conditions, okay? So if you don't know what that means, if you're playing Arena, these two spells are really good ways to close the game out, okay? Somebody has no trinket, they're far from their healer, Smoke Bomb. Somebody's low health, their healer's coming out of CC, put them into a Shadowy Duel. Your team's killing somebody, you have no more CC for the healer, duel the healer. There's like a lot of ways you can use these spells to close games out. They're just basically really good tools to have for Sub-Rogue, so highly recommend it. Not only that, but all of the other talents just aren't that insane overall. Okay, now that we rambled on about the talents and all that boring stuff, we could talk about the actual hype stuff that everyone's here for. We're going to talk about the openers, the burst rotation, all the good shenanigans, okay? So, first things first, let's talk about the Deathstalker Sub-Rogue opener, the Massive Burst. I'm going to show you guys this, and I'll even put it text on the screen and everything. I'm going to make this really easy. If you guys want to do the biggest amount of burst as Sub-Rogue from the opener, it's going to look something like this. It's kind of awkward because we're going to open without a stun on the target, which is kind of like going to give them some space for counterplay. But this is just honestly the best way to open. If you open with a stun, you're probably not going to be able to 100-0 people in the stun anyways. So it's just better to kind of like, once again, play around momentum, not kind of force setups. But yeah, I'll explain it and then we'll do it. So you're going to Blades. You're going to let your Thieves' Bargain damage debuff kind of fall down. Then you're going to strike to your target and put up a Rupture. This is going to apply Deathstalker's Mark, and it's going to instantly break one stack and get a bleed on the target, so you have a lot of damage rolling. As soon as you do that, you can go into like your actual dance rotation. So you're going to dance, Symbols, Badge, T, Cheap Shot, all at the same time. This is going to give you full points from Blades. You're going to press Secret Technique, and then once you have 2 set and 4 set, you'll actually get bonus damage 4 set from using the Secret Tech on your other finishers. But yeah, you're gonna Cheap Shot into a Tech. Then you're going to use your Sepsis into an Eviscerate. So now at this point, you've put your Rupture up, you've done a Tech, and you've done an Eviscerate, which means you're going to get your Darkest Night buff. You're going to re-Cheap Shot the enemy into an Eviscerate. Now this Eviscerate is going to literally clap cheeks. This is going to be one of the hardest hitting abilities that you're going to do, period, playing this build. And then if they're not dead by that, you can do a third Cheap Shot into another Eviscerate. But yeah, I'll show you what it looks like really quick on the dummy, and then we can kind of slow it down for you maybe. So we're going to Blades here, let the damage debuff fall for a second here, just so it doesn't mess with our burst. We're going to strike Rupture, kind of press dance every button into a Cheap, Symbols Tech, Sepsis Evis, re-Cheap, and now this Eviscerate is going to clap, boom, right there. That's the Darkest Night Eviscerate, and then you can re-Cheap into another Evis. So on the dummy here, that Eviscerate just hit a 1.68 million. Pretty disgusting. My only upgrade is I got this crafted dagger and I got the shoulders. So I don't even have crazy gear. No sockets, nothing. I have a freaking crit ring, okay? That's a big amount of damage. So yeah, that's kind of the opener that I would do if you want to do min-max damage as the Deathstalker build. Now I'm going to show you guys the Kyrian one-shot. Like I said, you can play Trickster for this. You can play Trickster or you can play Deathstalker. So the biggest thing to remember for the Kyrian is we have Rotten. So Rotten's going to guarantee that the symbol, or that the Echoing is going to crit, sorry. And also we have Perforated Veins. So if you want, you can kind of like build up and play around this a little bit. You can do a couple backstabs, and then the backstabs are basically going to make it so you get a way bigger Kyrian on top of the modifiers it already has. So now in terms of an opener, really simple stuff. We're kind of just going to do the same thing. For this one, you don't really need to ramp up as much. You don't really need the pre-strike and the rupture, because you can if you want to play around the mark, but you don't really need to. We'll do it for consistency, so you guys can kind of compare the builds. But yeah, so we'll do the same thing. We're gonna blades, let the buff fall or the debuff fall. We're gonna strike rupture, and then we're gonna press every button again. Dance, T, symbols, badge, cheap shot. We're going to tech again, but this time we're going to use echoing and then eviscerate and kind of do the same rotation. So the only difference is that we're kind of just adding in the Kyrian and switching out the sepsis. And you guys are going to see just how much this actually chunks. So I'll go ahead and show you guys right now. So we're in stealth. Wait 1 second. Okay, we're going to strike, rupture, dance with every button into a tech. And now here comes the huge Kyrian. Boom, into an eviscerate. And then we can re-cheap Evis again. There's the huge Eviscerate too into another cheap Evis. Now with this build, you can see I just hit a 1.8 million echoing, and I still hit a 1.3 Evis. So a little bit less finisher damage because you're missing deeper strata. So overall, this is why this build is like a little bit less consistent. The talents aren't as solid, but you can hit disgusting burst numbers with the Echoing Reprimand ability. So yeah, definitely something to check out. There's the openers for the biggest burst for each of them. Now we're going to actually talk about what the game's going to look like, your actual rotation as a sub-rogue, especially in like arena or a battleground. How are you going to do the most output? I had someone in my stream yesterday asking me how to do damage because they're doing so little damage compared to everyone else. Sub-rogue, just so you know, is not going to be a top of the meters DPS spec every single game. It just isn't. It has more utility than other classes. It would be completely broken if it could do that. But there is a lot of times where you have momentum and you're ahead of people and you can do way more damage than them. So we'll kind of show you guys what that will look like. Just vanish back my abilities. When you're playing sub, there's kind of two things you could do. You can build points and you can spend points. It's very, very simple. I would not overcomplicate it. Your builders are going to be things that give you points. So like Shadow Strike, Backstab, Shuriken Storm, Cheap Shot, Sepsis. All these things that are building points, you're going to want to use these to build your points, and then you're going to want to use your finishers to spend them. And I know that sounds really silly, but it's really as simple as that. I think it's really important to always try to rupture the kill target, especially as this spec. If you're not rupturing, you're missing out on a lot of DPS. And if you're playing like a battleground, I would try to rupture a lot of different people. And I would try to play around your stun DRs. So if you're in a battleground or something and you want to kill people, I would have a lot of ruptures rolling. And then I would basically go on somebody that's off stun DR so I can actually dance and cheap shot them and like stun them and then get my damage rotation off on them to try to actually land a kill. Now, if that person survives, instead of just sitting there hitting them with their little micro peen daggers over and over, we could actually look for somebody else that's off stun DR and kind of turn our pressure somewhere else. But yeah, I think in general, it's really simple stuff, guys. I wouldn't overcomplicate it. Put rupture on a lot of targets. Rupture does a lot of damage. I can't stress it enough. Play around your stun DRs. You're going to want to attack people that are off stun DR. And then other than that, it's just like, if you want to build points, Sepsis is just basically a stronger Shadow Strike. Secret Tech is just a stronger Eviscerate. So if you have these up, just use them alternatively. It's really simple. Don't overcomplicate it. In terms of like how to use Kidney Shot, I would use this mostly to CC people. But you also can use this on a kill target. Kind of situational once again. But it's just like 1 second longer. So it's nice to use this to get CC on a healer sometime. Yeah, it's pretty much it. I really don't want to overcomplicate this because it's not complicated stuff. So yeah, if you were just like attacking this guy, we can kind of see what it would look like after I go through the burst part. So I do like the rotation I already showed you guys. I'll do like the re-cheap of this. And then like what would I do from this point? You know what I mean? From this point, I'd probably do like a backstab into a slice. And I would just keep backstab evising because I have my blades up. I could maybe go into like another dance. I didn't mean the cheap shot there. I forgot that I just hit this guy. And then you'll see you kind of just reset your cooldowns and everything kind of just flows. When your stuff's back, you use it. If you have another symbols, pop that with another dance. Your ruptures fall and get another rupture up. Always remember you have finality rupture, so if you really don't have good globals to do, you could just literally rupture someone twice to just put the empowered rupture on. And then I'll show you guys right now, after just doing this test for a second, I'm kind of just hitting the dummy, just blasting some cheeks. I'll show you guys my actual damage breakdown to just give you an idea of where this damage is all coming from, this 800k DPS. And you'll be able to see, just like I said, rupture is cranking, okay? While I was completely resetting my cooldowns, spamming out eviscerates and everything, rupture was still my third damage, just under Shadow Strike. So really crazy stuff there. Eviscerate's doing a lot. I think realistically, if you're attacking more than one target, rupture's going to be doing way more damage, probably up here with Eviscerate or somewhere in here. But yeah, that's kind of what your breakdown will look like. Once again, don't overcomplicate it, boys. You got this. Anyways, boys, for those of you that made it to the end of the video, I just want to say quickly, thank you so much for supporting me, watching another one of my videos. Guys, if you didn't know, I've actually been getting DDoSed a lot lately. I just created a new character. My daughter spawned 1 month ago. It's actually her 1 month birthday today. So that's hype. That's hype. She's been DDoSing though, so the videos have been a little slow. My bad. But I do want to say thank you so much again for supporting me. Guys, I stream every single day over at twitch.tv/Palumor. So if you're ever interested in watching live streams or wanting to ask questions right away without a delay of waiting for me to respond to your comments, you can always catch me there. Alternatively, you guys can join my Discord and you can actually just message in there in the general chat, and I should respond to you literally within like 5 minutes if I'm around. So thank you so much again. Can't say it enough. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, morning, whatever it is, and take care of yourselves. I will see you guys all in the next video.